Oh, hey, hi, how you doing? I almost didn't see you come in. I didn't know you came in. Good to see you again. I'm glad you came by. Listen, I remember that story you told me. I wanted to make sure I got it right. It was such a fascinating story. So as I recall, you're at the CPA firm, you get a phone call, and your client, who's the president of this rather large firm, says she wants to have lunch. So you're okay, fine, let's have lunch. So you're in the city, you go into the city, and you go and you meet her at this really nice restaurant, and she introduces you to this fellow you never saw before. And he's apparently she introduces you to the vice president of human resources. He's been there about 6 months. So you sit down, you exchange your pleasantries, etc. And they come over and order some food, and you see the menu, and you get the veal piccata, and the president got some chicken, and the VP of finance gets some a salad and chef salad. Anyway, so the VP of finance, VP of human resources, excuse me, I'm getting confused here. VP says, listen, I understand you've been talking to our president a lot, and you are getting her to make decisions based on data, make intelligent decisions based on data. And I really respect that. I respect what you're doing. And my most important thing is retention and acquisition of talent. We got to acquire good talent and keep them. That's my most important thing for this company. That's how we're going to grow. That's how we're going to get better and improve. Okay, that sounds good. And so he's telling you that what he's done is he's looking at some data. And so he's looked at 100 people that have the company has hired over the past, more than 10 years, going back more than 3 years. And from 3 years to like 13 years, there's 100 people that have been hired by the company. And what he wants to determine is, he says it's a successful hire if the employees lasted 3+ years, 3 or more years with the company. Because when it's shorter than that, you got all the cost of training, the acquisition, etc. It's just not a good fit. It's just not a good hire. Either they left voluntarily or involuntarily. Either way, we would like to improve that rate, the acquisition rate. Okay, so he says, okay, so you're talking a little bit more. He says, listen, this is what we do. I have the data here, and we have the 100 people, and here, let me show you the data that he passed to you. So put that up on the board there. And so of the 100 employees, we see here that it is divided between males and females. There was 40 people that lasted less than 3 years. 25 were male, 15 were female. And there were 60 people that lasted more than 3 years. 54 were male and 6 were female. So only 60% of the people, of the employees, lasted 3 years, and we got to get that retention rate up. Okay, all right. And you can see here that we hired many more males, 79% of the people. And you can see that of the people that lasted 3 years, 54 out of the 60 males lasted more than 3 years. That's 90%. 90% of the males that you hired lasted 3 years. And then he shows you another piece category. This category is age. Over 40, less than 40, 40 and over, less than 40, when you made the offer and hired the person. So in there, once again, it seems to favor here over 3 years, people over 40. So of the 60 people over 3 years, 41 people were over 40 years of age, 19 were less, and less than 3 years, 14 people over the age of 40, and 26 were less than 40. And okay, I think I see that. Here's another sheet of paper. We subdivide that. So he's looking into the data here. So here, up here, we see that he's drawn, the males over 40, the females over 40, the males under 40, the females under 40, that lasted less than 3 years and more than 3 years. And then down at the bottom, by percentage. So the people that lasted more than 3 years would be the males over 40 is 60%. The males under 40 is 30%, so that's a total of 90%, whereas only 10% of the females did. So he finishes his presentation with his flourish, and he says, listen, it might not be a popular thing to say, but I'm all about the data here. We need to hire more men, especially older men over the age of 40. That's how we increase our people who stay with the company. It just makes economic sense. So the president of the company is not that crazy about this. This seems a little different from her philosophy. So she says to you, listen, that's the data. Would you like to see a more blown out scale? We can give you a more blown out scale of the data. You know, maybe you want to do some regression analysis on it. Maybe you want to do some correlation analysis on it. You know, I want to see what you think of the data that the vice president has showed us. So you told me later what you did was, okay, you know, you were quiet for a while. They finished lunch. Afterwards, you said, you know, like to get a cup of coffee. You get the cup of coffee, and they want to know what your thoughts are. And so you told them. Well, you told them, look, I'm glad that you're using data to make decisions. I think that's the intelligent thing to do. I don't really need to do any regression analysis. I think you've done a good job of the analysis. But where I think you're flawed was your conclusions. My conclusions, why do you say that? Well, the conclusions you come to is that you should hire more males. Now, there's no reason to believe that your staff, the people that do the acquisitions, we believe they did good interviews. You believe they found qualified people that had experience, that had education, that fit in with the company. I'm sure they did a fine job hiring the people. Your problem, obviously, is in retention. Now, of the females that you hired, over 71% of these females have left the company. Now, 2/3 of the males you left have survived, 3 years. That's fine. But of the females that you've hired, 81% of those females have less than 3 years. It sounds to me like your problem is the females in the company have a reason that they want to leave. Perhaps they feel they're being demeaned. Perhaps they feel they don't see a career path to the management team. Perhaps there's other reasons going on. And I suggest that you use this data to find out why they think that is. Perhaps you could ask them. Perhaps you could have a focus group. Perhaps you put in a mentoring program. I think you're wise to try to find out to increase your retention rate. But I don't think your problem is in your acquisition. Your problem is in the retention. So the president now, she's got a smile on her face. She's happy. She says, you know, that is a different interpretation. I think your interpretation makes more sense. The vice president of human resources, he's got his head chin down on his chest. And I said, so what happened after that? What happened? And you told me that the president was so pleased that she thought that you should make a presentation to the board of directors. You made your presentation to the board of directors. The board of directors was pleased with your thoughts and your recommendations of the data, and they decided to award your company, your CPA firm, several other type of consulting projects. So it worked out well for you and your firm. And so you know what? That's why you are one ace accountant. And that's why I want to give you a round of applause. All right. I'll talk to you later, all right? Bye-bye.